The USS Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group was steadily navigating the turbulent waters of the South China Sea. The flagship, the majestic USS Ronald Reagan, led the group with precision, a symbol of American naval dominance in contested waters. Suddenly, the AQS-53C acoustic detection system, a critical component of anti-submarine warfare, triggered an alarm. A tense silence filled the command center, but only for a moment. "Contact!" The operator's voice rang out, breaking the stillness like a gunshot. Data was instantly transmitted to the Combat Information Center, where a computer swiftly analyzed the acoustic signature of the target. It was identified as a Chinese Type 093 Shan-class submarine. The alarm rippled through the fleet, prompting cruisers and destroyers to reposition themselves, preparing for a potential conflict. This wasn't just a routine detection. This was an encounter that could redefine the already fragile geopolitical landscape of the South China Sea. The atmosphere on the USS Ronald Reagan shifted instantly. Officers and sailors moved with urgency, aware that history had shown the unpredictability of such moments. When it comes to confrontations between major powers in contested waters, history reminds us of ominous warning signs. The South China Sea has long been a theater for power plays, with each incident resembling a powder keg waiting for a spark. In 2001, a U.S. reconnaissance aircraft, the EP-3, collided with a Chinese fighter jet that crossed its path. The crash resulted in the death of the Chinese pilot and forced the EP-3 to make an emergency landing on Hainan Island. China detained the crew for 11 days, sparking a diplomatic crisis. Another example is the 2013 incident where the Chinese aircraft carrier Liaoning and its escort ships attempted to block the U.S. cruiser USS Cowpens, resulting in dangerously close maneuvers. Over the last few decades, China has not only bolstered its military capabilities, but has also undertaken large-scale operations to militarize disputed territories. Artificial islands equipped with missile systems and airstrips serve as stark reminders that Beijing is prepared to defend its interests at any cost. The U.S., on the other hand, sends a clear message. Freedom of navigation in international waters is non-negotiable. American carrier strike groups regularly patrol near disputed areas, challenging China's ambitions. Each new incident, from Chinese ships maneuvering dangerously close to American vessels to the harassment of Southeast Asian fishing boats, adds fuel to the fire. The South China Sea has become a testing ground, not only for military strength but also for political resolve. With tensions escalating, the question is not whether a new conflict will occur, but when and how far it will go. History makes it clear that with each passing year, the risk of a local incident escalating into a global catastrophe grows. Could a severe incident, like the interception of a Chinese military aircraft by an American carrier strike group, the capture of a Chinese spy vessel, or the interception of a Chinese spy submarine, be the tipping point? Today, we'll focus on the last scenario. When a massive U.S. carrier strike group enters contested waters, it resembles a floating fortress moving across the ocean. Such a sight can leave even the most confident adversary in awe, but what happens when it encounters a silent, nearly invisible foe? A Chinese spy submarine. Let's analyze which side is better prepared for this underwater game of cat and mouse. The first player in this dangerous game is the U.S. Carrier Strike Group. At its center is the aircraft carrier, a massive ship capable of carrying dozens of fighter jets, reconnaissance planes, and anti-submarine aircraft. It's accompanied by destroyers, cruisers, nuclear submarines, and supply ships. Each vessel is equipped with advanced radar, sonar, and surveillance systems. The group's anti-submarine capabilities deserve special attention. Leading the charge is the ASQQ-89 system, the brain of anti-submarine defense on destroyers, capable of identifying underwater objects at great depth. This brain is complemented by P-8 Poseidon aircraft, submarine hunters equipped with powerful sonars and torpedoes. They can scan vast areas and detect even the most elusive targets. Finally, there are multifunctional drones, the latest weapon capable of silently tracking underwater targets. With these technologies, the American group becomes an all-seeing eye, monitoring everything happening within hundreds of miles below the ocean's surface. However, underestimating the Chinese Navy would be a mistake. Submarines like the Type 093 and the newer Type 095 are equipped with noise reduction systems, making them true ghosts of the ocean. These machines can remain undetected by most standard detection systems, moving through underwater canyons or using thermoclines, natural temperature layers in water that mask their traces. Additionally, Chinese submarines often work in tandem with maritime drones and coastal stations, creating a complex reconnaissance network. This allows them not only to gather information on enemy movements, but also to evade pursuit when necessary. In the case of a Chinese submarine interception, the U.S. group would likely play to its strengths: superiority in aviation and precision equipment. But could this advantage hold in the challenging conditions of the South China Sea, where the depths are filled with natural hiding spots for submarines? The U.S. has scale and technological power on its side. China has local advantages, regional knowledge, and the determination to protect its interests at all costs. Technically, this duel shows that the situation could unfold unpredictably. The smallest mistake or misstep in strategy could lead to disaster for both crews and global stability. When the American strike group detects a Chinese spy submarine, a tense cat-and-mouse game begins. One that could end fatally not only for its participants, but for the entire planet. This isn't just a military episode, it's a chess match where the stakes are nothing less than the stability of an entire region. Let's break down a likely scenario minute by minute. The first act is detection. It all starts with a signal. The sonar on one of the U.S. destroyers detects unusual movements in the depths. It could be a school of fish or a natural object, but operators know that there are no coincidences in these waters. The discovery is classified as high probability of a submarine presence, P8. Poseidon aircraft are immediately deployed to scan the area. Soon buoys are dropped, and every second of analysis brings the confirmation closer. It's a Chinese submarine. Its signature matches known models, and now the task is to determine its intentions. The second act involves a warning. American ships send a standard message through international communication channels. Unidentified submarine, you are violating international law. Surface immediately and identify yourself. There's no response. The submarine remains a silent ghost, heightening suspicions. This is neither a drill nor an accidental mistake. It's a deliberate operation. The U.S. destroyers begin closing in on the submarine's suspected location, demonstrating strength and readiness for further action. The third act sees the submarine making a risky maneuver. The Chinese crew isn't ready to surrender. The submarine dives deeper or attempts to hide in a thermocline. Such sharp movements increase the risk of collision. History is full of examples of submarine collisions, such as the 2001 USS Greenville incident near Hawaii, or the 1992 collision between the USS Baton Rouge and a Russian submarine in the Barents Sea. The U.S. group, which includes a nuclear-powered submarine, remains vigilant. When two submarines maneuver in tight spaces, collisions can happen. Escalation in military confrontations, particularly in contested waters, is a delicate and dangerous phase where every decision carries enormous consequences. The fourth act of this encounter between the U.S. Navy and a Chinese submarine is a defining moment. One that could either defuse the situation or push it into uncharted and potentially catastrophic territory. At this stage, both sides have confirmed each other's presence. The American fleet has detected the Chinese submarine, and the Chinese crew is well aware that they have been discovered. The next move is crucial. The U.S. Navy, seeking to establish control, may employ a well-documented but risky tactic: dropping practice depth charges. However, even these so-called practice measures can have unintended consequences. A miscalculated detonation could cause real damage to the submarine's hull, forcing it into an emergency situation. Worse, the crew inside the submarine could interpret the depth charges as a direct attack, leading them to respond defensively. In the claustrophobic and high-stress environment of a submerged vessel, misinterpretation can be just as deadly as a direct assault. If the situation escalates, China's response is critical. Should the submarine and its crew be lost, Beijing might choose to retaliate militarily. A military response could escalate into a full-scale war. A diplomatic retreat, on the other hand, might embolden China and signal a shift in the global balance of power. The world stands on the brink. Will cooler heads prevail, or are we heading toward a crisis that could reshape global history? As tensions in the South China Sea continue to escalate, one thing is clear. Every encounter like this brings us one step closer to a potential global crisis. Will cooler heads prevail, or are we witnessing the early stages of a larger conflict between two of the world's greatest superpowers? The stakes have never been higher, and the world is watching. What do you think? Could incidents like this spiral into something far more dangerous, or will diplomacy keep things in check? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to stay updated on the latest geopolitical developments, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for more in-depth analysis on the world's most critical flashpoints. Thanks for watching.